We are here at the 2012 Twin Cities Film Fest. We are with Chars Bronin, the director and writer for our feature tonight, Finding Home. Chars, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I'm very excited to be here.
Well, we are excited to see the feature tonight. Take us through a little bit about maybe the history of Finding Home and maybe lead it up to where we are today.
Well, I got the idea. A friend of mine, I told him that he should write a Lost in the Woods story as like a therapy. And I gave him a year to do it. He didn't do it, so I started to decide that, okay, it's time for me to do one. Being that we could do it, we could shoot it in a quick way, we can hammer it out. I figured with the team that I had assembled in the past doing these one-weekend film festivals, that we could hammer out a feature-length movie in about 10 days or 15. I probably thought about 15 days, 2 weeks maybe. But then when I wrote the script, it took me a couple months to write it, and then I rewrote it one time. Didn't change too much, but I added one scene that I think is an integral part of the movie, and then tweaked a little bit here and there, and then I started to produce it and set it up and see how long it might take, and I figured that we could do it in 10 days.
So 10 days, it took us 10 days to get this together, and where did you shoot this film at?
We shot it in a rural location at Camp Olympia in northern Wisconsin, and then we shot along the way as we were driving up there, like as the couple is going out to the Boundary Waters. We never say the Boundary Waters, but that's about the location that we wanted. And then so it was a old biathlon training facility I think in the 1960s, early 70s maybe, and that's where you cross country ski and you shoot. And so they had the location that we had was my in-laws, Chuck and Pat Hagstrom, were part owners. And so we got permission, and I kind of wrote the script around knowing the location, knowing that we had an island to shoot on that would look like a campsite, knowing that probably the second campsite we would have to build. And so I put in the script, oh, it's a little rough out here. And things like that, you have a little more liberty when you know exactly the location that you're looking at. And there were trails. They have 300 plus acres and almost a private lake. There's only one other cabin on the lake. And so we really were able to make it look like you're out in the middle of nowhere.
Awesome.
In fact, we kind of were. There was no cell service. There was one phone line. And aside from that, that's where you were.
So this started back in 2010, and now we're here 2012. Is that when it initiated, the script, the location? How many years? I guess it's been just 2 years since the beginning to where we are now?
We shot in September of 2010. I probably started writing it in 2009. I had the idea in about 2008, but I didn't start actually writing it until the late 2009, and then I gave the script to my DP and said, okay, we're going to shoot this. When do you have open? It's got to be in the fall because of the context of the script and everything that happens and the dying leaves and a lot of other things that you look into. But
now, Finding Home, the title, where does that come from, the name of your movie?
To me, because it's a Lost in the Woods story, they're obviously trying to find their way home. It's also with where the characters are. She's got a big secret. He's going to propose marriage, and figuring that way, when the secret can come out, he'll be there. She'll know that he's not going anywhere, and they'll work through it together. Well, when it does come out, it's a doozy, and now they both kind of need to find their way home within each other, within their relationship, and to survive in the woods. So it's kind of, I thought about changing the name because there's a few other movies that are called Finding Home, but it fit too well on too many levels that I just couldn't.
Now there's a secret in this movie, probably not something that you want to reveal to us tonight before we show it.
Correct.
Does it have anything to do with her saving on Geico car insurance? Or?
No, she might have killed the gecko, but I'm not saying
that's
for sure.
You've heard it here first. Yeah. You've heard it here first. So now your cast. Talk to us a little bit about your cast. How did you choose them, and talk about your experience with them over those 10 days of shooting?
I went through a local agency for the cast. Ended up with Brian Evans and Lindsay Marcy. Brian Evans they're both absolutely fantastic actors. the fact that we've only got 2 characters for 70% of this movie, that's well over an hour, that there's only 2 people. And if you don't like them or their relationship to each other and can't connect with either one of them, there's going to be disconnect. And so I wanted to have the best actors, and I wanted to have the connection. And so when we went into callbacks, I just prayed that these 2 had that chemistry, because they were the 2 that stood out to me, that really had the feel of what that character was the whole time. And luckily they did, and they're brilliant.
Yeah, I saw the trailer, and I would commend you on picking who you've picked. They did an incredible job piecing it together, and in a short amount of time too, getting the script. And Brian, he has a little different background than acting. I also researched, does he do dance as well, or?
Yeah, he's a dancer, a professional dancer. That's how he makes his living. Okay. And Lindsay's a professional actor. Yep. I think that also someone brought up to me today. I was talking with a class of film students today, and one person brought up, was it intended that that Wesley was going to be of color and Katie was going to be white? And I know that for me, I always like to promote diversity, and sometimes in Minnesota, when you're shooting in Minnesota, it gets a little more difficult. But with this script, it never even came into my head, even when I was auditioning people, that I was just looking for the best actors with the best connection, and it just happened to work out that way. And I think that it really says a lot for our community, and I hope that it'll say a lot to the public, to kind of break down some barriers and stereotypes that people may have.
In a few short moments, we're going to go inside and take a look at 2 packed-out houses, seeing your film. What's the feeling kind of right now as you're leading up to what an audience is going to think when they see Finding Home?
Well, I'm excited. I mean, it's been a long journey, from the conception to writing it, to getting everything lined up, to shooting it, and then edit and color correct and musical score, and I mean all that, and sound design, and so I've been living with this for 2 years, and to have the world premiere here at the Twin City Film Fest is so exciting to just know that an audience is going to see it that's just not my family and friends. Yeah. So.
Like in the sports world, after a big event, they go to Disney to celebrate the Super Bowl or the World Series. What's next for you? You getting some time off?
Well, I would love to go to Disney if they'll hire me.
Nice.
But no, I mean we've got other projects that we have, a couple other scripts that we're looking at. We just entered our assistant director and associate producer, Ira Livingston, has a 50-50 film challenge, a 50-50 reel challenge that we entered, just a few of us. So we've got a screening for that sometime next week for a little zombie movie that we made that's about a little over 4 minutes. It's really funny.
Now, were you in the movie at all, a zombie character? Or?
I was actually, I did the narration for that, but I didn't appear in it. We were a little too short-handed in this one for me to do anything on screen, but the actors that we have for that one, like this one, are very brilliant. There's a lot of talent here in Minnesota, a lot of talent, and I hope that more filmmakers, not just Minnesota filmmakers, will come here and make use of the talented people. With the theater community here, there really is a brilliant pool.
Well, 2 last questions. One is, you were obviously the director and the writer, but you also spent some time on camera as an actor. Tell us, kind of walk through your character and what happened there.
Well, my character is Turner. He's a guy who comes across the couple in the woods, and he's kind but uncertain. So you kind of you don't know much about him, and I think that in playing Turner, I wanted to add to the story and not take from the story. I wanted the story to be about Katie and Wesley and not about Turner, and I think that I succeeded. So, but
very cool.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll let everyone else be the judge on that.
For sure. Well, we're obviously here getting ready to go in. There's a lot of films that we'll see here. There's been 60 films in the festival as a whole. Any advice to the future filmmaker, the future actor, the future director, any advice that you could offer them now sitting here getting ready to showcase your feature film?
Make movies. We've got with technology how it's come. I remember when I went to school for TV and film directing, I was using Super 8, and you had like little 8mm film, and we were cutting it, and I was counting frames. I wanted 3 seconds and then a cut, so I would count with a magnifying glass, 1, 2, 3, and cut it, tape it together. And with the quality of cameras that are inexpensive as they are, write a script, shoot it, and you never know. Throw it out there and work with as many people as you can. Find out who you work well with, because some people work well with others. Some people, work well with this type or that type. You'll find there's enough talent here. Just make movies and see what happens.
Awesome. Well, you guys heard it here, very first few words out of his mouth, make movies. So from the Twin Cities Film Festival, we're here with Chars, getting ready to see the feature tonight of Finding Home. Thank you, Chars.
Thank you very much.